Hello, hello, hello. Good morning to all FPL managers. FPL Jedi Show is back. This session where it is double game week 26 deadline day. We know it's a big game week with 8 teams playing twice. Let me welcome my co-host Azmin. How's your feeling today?
Hi. So we got a lot of latest news. So a lots of things to think about and strategize. So let's get down to it.
Yep. Just to remind everyone who doesn't know yet. Okay. Yesterday we have been issued with the latest news where it has been announced double game week in 28 and 29. Fixtures has been shared all across social media and other web platform. To be fair, I and Azmi also still need time to uh, digest all these ni and what's the moving forward strategy. But maybe man, we have a quick look on the double game week 28, 29 and yours first reaction. Just a simple one. You're on mute, man.
Okay. So game week. So we know that double game week 26, which is what we're facing right now. Followed by double game week 27, which has only
Burnley.
Burnley.
Yep.
Burnley
Burnley
has a
only.
double game, and some teams like Liverpool and Arsenal do not have a game. Yeah, so it's a double game week slash blank game week, depending on who's playing. Then after that, so after the week where only one team has a double week, so now we have lots more. You got six teams in double in in game week 28, 20, 29 having double fixtures. Okay, so what leaps out to me is Leeds um, having some good decent fixtures, which is Leicester away and Aston Villa home, and both teams have been bad in the defense lately. But of course, always have to remember that Leeds themselves are not exactly the best team. They're about to. They're pretty much gonna be in a relegation battle. After that, Southampton has been in decent form, but the fixtures are not as great with Newcastle looking good lately. Wolves look like they have one of the best fixtures. Playing home again, Crystal Palace home and Watford home. You combine that with this week where they play two teams at home as well, then it starts to look really good for picking up Wolves players. Okay, Arsenal fine, they play Leicester, but they play Liverpool, so that's not as great as Wolves, even though both are at home. Brighton, this is in game week 29, by the way. Brighton play Liverpool and Spurs, so again, not so great, even though they are playing at home. Um, I guess if I were to say that, some of the best fixtures looking coming out of that, which teams, then definitely I would look at Wolves, I would look at Leeds, and probably Aston Villa. Okay,
Yep.
so
Yep.
Aston Villa, at least in terms of their attack, they're pretty strong, although they did blank last game against Newcastle. But Southampton and Leeds are definitely teams that you could look to attack fixtures in. So those three for
Yep.
game week 28. Yeah, game week
Just
29
to
is a bit. Sorry, go on.
just to point out to everyone, from this 28 and 29, we can see that Newcastle has a back-to-back double game week. That's the only team that we can see here that has four matches for in
Yeah.
these two games. So I'm not sure whether this come into our thinking to pick any Newcastle asset. We already know Trippier is out for a while, so he's not an option, I suppose. I don't know whether ASM can come into picture. We can see 28 much more favorable than 29 fixtures because
Yep.
both are away to Chelsea and Everton. But this some preliminary thoughts. I mean, first reaction.
Yeah.
Uh, like you mentioned, Liverpool and Arsenal going to have double again in 29. So if let's say we heavily invested in 26, which is this week, we know that somewhere in 29 they will have another double game week.
Yeah. A lot of news out there, and I've been seeing how people are reacting. Some have moved, instead of a triple captaincy, they actually wildcarding this week as well, just to help prepare for the double game weeks, which means most of the time that we're looking at free hitting in game week 27. Yeah. So for game week 27, the two key players that we want for this week, which is from Arsenal and Liverpool, do not play, and that is one of the main reasons why uh, we are looking at free hitting in 27, so that when 28 comes back, we will have our Arsenal and Liverpool players back, so that they'll be playing in game week 29. So a lot to think about.
Yep. So never mind. Maybe we talk again more in our midweek show. But for today, let us focus on the team news and just take into account this double game week 28 and 29 announcement. Whether we stick with our plan or we make some tweak to adjust with this. Okay. So this is the game week 26 fixture. Like we mentioned, 8 teams will be playing double. Uh, Mainly Burnley, Spurs, Watford, Crystal Palace, Liverpool, Leeds, Arsenal and Wolves. We already know Liverpool and Arsenal has the most favourable fixture, 2 fixture in game week 26, which is both are playing at home. Arsenal against Branford and also Wolves, while Liverpool playing Norwich and Leeds, which is the most obvious is triple captaining chip this week lah for Salah, or maybe if you want to try others like TAA, I'm not too sure. So I think let's jump straight into the team news, man.
Okay, yeah, go.
Let's go to the big one. We go to Liverpool versus Norwich.
Oh, we're jumping. Okay.
Okay. As we already know about Jota, man, let's find out what's Klopp comment.
Okay, so as you can see, he's confirmed that he won't be available, and and he's not even sure with the just how far will he be, how long it'll take before he comes back. He did mention here that one of his quotes that's not on this tweet is that he said it could go really quick or the other way around. So we don't know, whether or not he'll be available for Leeds as well. But one thing we have to remember is that they do have another Champions League game after this week, and after this double game week, then the following week, and the next midweek will be a Champions League game, which they are playing at Anfield. So it's really congested in terms of the matchups, and you have to think that if we want Diogo Jota to be fit for the rest of the season, and then they might not risk rushing him back for Leeds. And to be fair, Leeds are quite a volatile side. They let in a lot of goals, so they may not risk having Jota for the Leeds game, and which means that if you do have Jota, you're better off selling and looking for someone else to fill that valuable spot. So better be sure rather than be uncertain. Especially with Liverpool having quite decent depth now. They got Luis Diaz. You still have Firmino. Then Mane. Then and anyone like Alex Ox, Minamino. So all these are now capable of scoring, although maybe not as much as Diogo Jota, but they are still solid. And against Norwich or Leeds, it's possible. It's definitely possible that could happen. Other than that, everyone else is pretty much fit for the Liverpool side. Okay, so let's take a look at Norwich. So Norwich, Adam Ida, who has scored a few goals this season, but he's looking like he's definitely out, and maybe for the rest of the season, which is bad. So the other bad news for Norwich is, of course, Krul not being around. As we know that, with Krul around, they did manage to keep a clean sheet before he got injured. And Gunn coming in is not of the same level to me. Yeah. So other than that, we really aren't considering any Norwich picks, even so, but there's no other key injuries for FPL picks like Pookie, Williams. These are picks that people may have, but I guess it doesn't matter because we're not going to pick Norwich anyway this week. They don't have a double game week anyway.
So we all are expecting a big scoring game against Norwich. You're expecting the same thing?
Yes. So in terms of the lineups, there's a lot of speculation as to who will play, who will injure, and especially with regards to the fullbacks. I say TAA and Robertson is a decent time to bench one of them or both of them at one point this week. So I don't think it's necessary. Although to be fair, there is a bit of risk with Robertson because let's face it, Tsimikas, when he plays, he's been quite good. So I can foresee that happening for Robertson, but probably not for TAA because we don't have as many options at right back. Okay, the other risk, of course, is regarding Salah, but I think Salah should be safe for both games. He was benched previous in 2 games ago, and of course because he needed the extra rest for the after the African Cup of Nations. But I think he should be fine. He did play in the Champions League and scored a goal. Now, if you remember, I mentioned that if he didn't score a goal against Inter Milan, I'd be a bit not sure we don't want to put him in. But because he scored a goal and because Salah is the kind of player he is, I think he will continue to start. And another thing I just want to point out that Klopp mentioned about with regards to Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah.
Yes. Okay.
He mentioned in a press conference that one good thing about these two is they don't drink, so their recovery period, even after winning the AFCON, for example, Sadio Mane and Naby Keita won the AFCON, so they don't drink. So as a result, they're not involved in those celebrations that other teams might be involved in when they win something. So as a result, the recovery time is better. So no risk there for me. Personally, I think Salah will start both games.
Okay, good to hear that. People who have Jota like me, I feel we need to move on and pick some other asset. Maybe some decent asset from Arsenal, which is what we're going to talk about next, Arsenal versus Brentford. We already know Arsenal has favorable fixture, especially against Brentford. What's the latest news for them?
Okay, so for Arsenal again, everyone important is pretty much fit. Although Tomiyasu, hang on, let me just my screen's hanging a minute. So Tomiyasu, as mentioned, is in the tweet. So we're not sure. He said it's contention, and it looks like he is first choice. He could be first choice, but I'm not sure now if he's fit because Tierney has been doing well as well, and I think Cedric is there as well. Who else? Okay, so we know that Martinelli is suspended, so that's normal. So the question is now, will we expect ESR to come in with Martinelli suspended? So the question is now, what about the second game? Because they have they have 2 games, and will ESR go back to the bench? So we saw what happened when Martinelli came in and he played well, and after that Martinelli continued to play and ESR was still on the bench and only gets subbed in. It's a tough call for me. And obviously for some you'll just go for a safe play like Saka, but I think Smith Rowe is worth a good shout. If I think it may happen that just like Martinelli, if Smith Rowe comes in and does well, he may continue to start. And we saw that with we found out later on that ESR previously was nursing an injury, so which was why he was continuing with sub. So I don't think there's an issue with the injury now. So as long as ESR starts and he plays, then I think he will continue to start. And so that's my thoughts on it. Brentford again, Ericsson not ready yet. So Ivan Toney will be assessed tomorrow morning. So that's what Thomas Frank says. So for me, it doesn't look good for Brentford, and I don't think Ivan Toney will be ready. So
Okay.
they play on Saturday, right? So wait,
Yep.
yeah. So I don't think he'll be ready, and I think for Arsenal, and especially for those who are wildcarding or transferring in Arsenal players for this treat for the double game, Ramsdale looks a good shout. At least
Yep.
I can definitely see a clean sheet at least for this one. And for those who are wildcarding, bringing in, Gabriel, or
Yep.
Tierney, that
Yeah,
definitely
yes.
a clean sheet
Yep.
is doable there.
Just a quick question, man. If let's say any manager that still has Martinelli, which we already know he only going to play one game, what you going to do with him? Play him?
I think so. I think if you're not wild carding or free hitting, um, I think that Martinelli will come in as a sub, even if he. Sorry. Um, sorry.
Martinelli only play one game.
I
Yeah.
got mixed up. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. I would probably sell.
Okay.
If you don't have any issues elsewhere, then I would probably sell him. But the thing with Martinelli, at his price, he's cheap enough for you to bench.
Bench.
And there
Okay.
are other single game week players. I'm sure there are other single game week players in your team that will start. And I think you safer off benching Martinelli
Okay.
instead.
All right. Okay. Fair, man. Next, West Ham versus Newcastle. This is the early kickoff, man, at
Yeah.
8:30. West Ham, I don't think they play in midweek. I don't think so. I
No, they
actually
didn't.
tried to find I tried to find some news, but I don't think so. Only
No,
Leicester
no,
played. Yeah.
no. So
So
West Ham, as we know, they're already out of the Europa, so they can
mm-mm.
focus on the.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So yep. You can share what's latest news, mean? Is Zuma gonna play?
okay, so the only confirmed absentees were Ogbonna and Matsuaku. So apparently, Zuma has recovered from whatever illness he had. It never really said why he suddenly withdrew from the lineup. However, Moyes did mention that a couple of players have knocks, but he didn't say who. So there's a slight risk there. Most of us have Bowen, and some of us still have Antonio. Bowen, if even
Yeah.
in this double game week, he's in such scorching form that I wouldn't sell him anyway. So Antonio is a different story. So I can definitely he may be someone you want to move on in favor of double game week options like um, Jimenez, for example. Yeah, so definitely Antonio is a risk there.
Yep.
Okay, so for Newcastle, the biggest thing which we knew already was Tierney, pula. Who's that guy?
3 p.m.
Trippier. Sorry, yeah. So Trippier, and it's quite for me, it's quite a significant loss. However, I don't think it shall impact on Newcastle's morale. Yeah, having won 3 games in a row, I think this will be good for Newcastle. So it should be a tough match. Um, we knew we do know that Callum Wilson is still out, and yeah, but other than that, no other FPL relevant picks. So Fraser Wood and ASM should continue starting up front, and ASM is definitely a shout for pick. But the thing is, again, like West Ham, Newcastle don't have a double game week. So if
Yep.
you have him and um, you have no issues elsewhere, by all means sell him for a double game week player. But if you do have other issues, keeping ASM is still okay in my book.
Okay. How about keeping Antonio?
No, I think Antonio is definitely someone we should look at moving on.
Okay.
He
Fair.
hasn't been doing well, so yeah.
All right. Next, Aston Villa versus Watford. Watford do have 2 games in this game week. So what's the latest news for both team?
Right. So for Aston Villa, the biggest one for them is Eric Konsa being suspended. Okay, so most likely, who's that? Arsenal guy, Callum Chambers should
Chambers,
come
yeah.
in for Konsa. But one thing that we do need to take note is that Gerrard was really angry after losing to Newcastle last week. So he did set the what he said was some changes have to might have to be done. So I would argue that Watkins is definitely at risk. So if you have Watkins, I'm not when a ready replacement in Ings is there, so Ings could definitely start. And I think he will start this one instead of Watkins. So other players that were identified as potentially at risk was Douglas Lewis as well as Matt Cash. Um, so when with Cash, you have someone like Ashley Young who can come in, for example. Yeah, but Ramsey, Coutinho, and Digne, all those your star FPL players, I think they should be fine to start. Okay. Moving on to Watford. So apparently there was a bulletin according to the tweet that 2 members will have their fitness assessed, and Hodgson didn't want to
Okay.
go any further. So that's a bit of a risk there. Of course, we're worried about our Kings and Dennis's. Although to be fair, let's face it, both haven't exactly been performing. But at the same time, we're all keeping our Watford players anyway this week because they have 2 double games. So Foster has a double game, and so the question, especially for those who may have another Ramsdale, for example, choosing between Foster and Ramsdale will become an issue. In terms of injury news, no, nothing relevant. All your key FPL players are ready, unless they are one of those 2 members that Hodgson didn't want to talk about. So there is a risk
Yep.
there.
So
So don't bring Watford players in now. But if you do have them, you might as well keep
don't buy, don't sell policy now.
No, yeah, I mean, and the problem is with the double game week, we saw that Watford have another double game week in 28, right? So
Yeah.
it's like we'll be hanging on to our Kings and Dennisons a while yet, unless you
Yeah.
are carding.
Yes, yes. Let's move on to Brighton versus Burnley. Burnley is another team that has 2 double game weeks, and Cornet and Weghorst is the one that managers are targeting, since they will also have another double game week next week, man. So what's latest news for, especially on Weghorst?
Okay, quickly to Brighton. So Dunk is suspended, which is good for Burnley, which means that I feel that Brighton will lose their clean sheet. It's just a question of to who. They said that McAllister may had a slight knock, but apparently he'll be okay and be able to play. So on the Burnley side, okay, Sean Dyche said, looking at his quotes, um, he's not exactly, for me, it strikes to me he's not exactly confident that he's really, really ready. And the thing is that with Burnley, with a lot of people expecting to free hit, then for next week, then we may want to wait another week before we bring Weghorst in. I think it's viable, especially with other picks being available. So Cornet is okay, so he should be fine. Nothing else there. Ashley Barnes, who is who will be Weghorst's immediate replacement if Weghorst isn't featured. So he had another run, so he should be fine, I think. Yeah. So it's just a question of Weghorst. Obviously, Weghorst is the superior asset over Barnes. So, but for this match, if you do want to go for a Burnley player, maybe Cornet is a better option because I'm worried that even if Weghorst does start, he may not. He'll play maybe only 60 plus
Liverpool.
minutes to take care of him,
Right.
to manage his minutes.
Okay. Next, we go Crystal Palace versus Chelsea. Crystal Palace also will have double game week. I'm not too sure what's news, especially people who are thinking bringing Zaha, less Zaha or what. So, yes, Mr. Azmin, what's the
Okay,
latest news?
so the biggest info is that Conor Gallagher not eligible to play against Chelsea. So which is to be honest, it's not a big a miss as I thought it was previously. I think there's enough depth in the Palace squad without Gallagher. So everyone else is pretty much fit. I don't think there's any there's definitely no fresh issues. So Kuyate is back. So Kuyate replace Gallagher. So Kuyate is nowhere near Gallagher in terms of creativity, but he will shore up that midfield as well, and particularly against Chelsea if they want to adopt a more defensive approach. Chelsea, on the other hand, we have Mount out, and which for me is a big loss. And apparently he's targeting the Carabao Cup
Big
final
Cup.
instead. Yeah, so that means that don't have to worry about him for now. We know that Reece James, who's recovering as well, but he may only be available after this. Although, let's face it, Chelsea aren't. We're not really considering Chelsea assets yet.
Yep.
That's it. Yep.
Yep.
Everyone else
Okay.
is back.
Southampton versus Everton, man. We know Southampton. Last game is against Manchester, right? They got a decent draw. Everton also on high flying after the 3-0 victory against Leeds. So what's the latest news? Is I don't know, the likes of GCL, Gray.
Yeah. So Southampton, everyone's pretty much fit. So except for Nathan Tella, as mentioned in the tweet, so everyone else is okay. I know Bednarek was withdrawn against Manchester United in the last match, but it was just precautionary, so he's okay again. On the Everton side, yeah. So hopefully for those who still have DCL like me, he'll some more time where he hasn't had any setbacks, so he should be fine. Unfortunately, for those who held on to Gray, I think he'll be fit, so he's still not ready, and which is no good because Everton again don't have both teams don't have a double game week this week.
Yeah. Okay. Next is Man City versus Spurs. Spurs do have double game this week, but one of it is against Man City. So what's the latest news, man?
All right, so for Manchester City, Grealish is out, so that's not good. But obviously, it makes it easier for those who are picking Manchester City players. Now, of course, Manchester City don't have a double game week this week, but they are playing Spurs, and Spurs have been quite leaky. Yeah, and against a team like Manchester City, they be going big guns. And one thing to remember for those who are trying to figure out their transfers, Manchester City don't have a game midweek, and they won 5-0 against Sporting Lisbon midweek. There's no issues with them putting up the strongest first 11 against Spurs, and they'll probably want to do that to really put a mark in terms of winning the league. So winning against Spurs will be a real sign. Okay, so Spurs themselves, he doesn't have Skip. But the good news is Eric Dier is back. So he will definitely come in, and I think he'll probably come in for Sanchez.
Okay.
And
I can see here quote that one unnamed player who has COVID. Do you have any news?
no, I don't. It's frustrating, and there are speculations that it could be Sun, but don't quote me on that. It's all just a lot of rumors. Okay. And one thing with it is that it's possible. The worry is that it is someone significant, which is why they're not telling who it is. Yeah, so it's a worry, and definitely there's a risk there if they don't. Don't tell it. But Sun, if you remember, he already had COVID. That's the thing. So for him to catch it again, it'd be a bit.
It'll be a big blow if it's Kane, because I think there are also some managers who have him instead of last time Ronaldo at that same price. Would you surprised that maybe a few weeks back people are talking about bringing Spurs except for any double game week, the likes of Kane and Son, and now nobody is talking about them.
Yeah, it's just because of the form they're in. And there was a quote by Conte who said that they're now competing with the likes of Brighton and Aston Villa. So it's really a blow in morale. So meaning that they're not competing for, against the likes of Liverpool and Chelsea and Manchester City. So, it kind of hurts Spurs fans, but that's the reality of it based on the performances. Um, so
Okay.
sorry, just quickly, there was one rumor that it could be Reguilon instead. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
So here's one from Raka FPL who that said that. So because Spurs, he wasn't in the training picture. So
Okay. Could be.
thanks,
All right.
Rakan.
Okay. So if let's say we have Regulon, although it's speculation, we might need to move him.
If there are no other fires elsewhere in your squad.
Okay, man. Just a quick note on Man City asset. If we have any of them, say I don't know, like the likes of Foden, do we keep and play him?
Okay, so that will depend on whether or not you think Foden is the strongest in your in the strongest Manchester City first 11, and in my opinion, he is. Given that Manchester City don't have a game midweek, then if you have Foden, keep him. He could actually go into double digits for this game. Although Eric Dier being fit does help make that defense a bit stronger, but I do feel Spurs' problems are in the midfield. They don't have a midfield that's strong enough to stop the Manchester City attack. So if you had Foden, the good thing is he's not that expensive. So I would say
Yeah.
keep him. Yeah, he could well haul.
Okay.
But following on, then the question is, well, what if it's someone like KDB? KDB is a lot more expensive, and it's a tough dilemma. I have KDB myself, so
Oh yeah.
I'm still trying to debate on trying to decide on what my move will be.
Okay. We'll get to that later, man.
Yeah.
Next, Leeds versus Manchester United. Leeds do have double game week, double fixture, but against the big guns, Manchester and Liverpool. So, what's the latest news for both teams?
Okay, so Marcus Bielsa saying Dallas hasn't been discarded mean that he may actually come back into contention, so he should be all right. Of course we have the problems with Leeds are still the same. We got Phillips out, um, Branford out, so these are still key players for Leeds. Uh, However, that doesn't mean that they can't score goals. They have been scoring goals without them. So Dan James should continue up front, and if we check back, Dan James in the reverse fixture, he was playing for Manchester United. It was the first fixture of the season where he played against Leeds. So for this one, he has been on media saying, like he needs to prove a point. He needs to show how he's improved. So it might be a good shout for a dark horse pick. And one thing with Manchester United is that you may say it's a tough fixture, but I say in terms of the defense has been poor, and they've been in the top 5 for expected goals conceded in the stats table. So it's not impossible that Leeds will score against Manchester United. So Manchester United, Cavani still out will help those who are thinking of keeping Cristiano Ronaldo. And I like the idea of keeping Cristiano Ronaldo simply because I feel that he does, now that he has that confidence after scoring that goal, and in the second half he seemed to work really well with Fernandes, which we didn't really see. I think partly they say it's because of a change in formation. But Manchester United, of course, will be expected to score against Leeds. So those who have Bruno or um, Ronaldo,
Ronaldo.
if you're not wild carding for a full set of double gamers, then I would say it's still viable to keep if you have one of them. Maybe not have both of them because you probably want to reinvest that money in some double
Salah.
gaming assets. But I would say if you keep one of them, they could potentially haul against Leeds.
I agree, man. And next is Wolves versus Leicester. Wolves has double game week and a lot of assets like Jose Sa, even Saiz and also Jimenez himself be attracting managers to come in for this game week 26. What's latest news for both teams?
Yep. So the good news with Wolves is that most of their players are pretty much fit. However, that means that Nori becomes a risk because there are alternatives for his position. So you got Johnny who could come in, then you have Nori as well. So if you want to go for the safe play, obviously they're quite popular because they have a really good defensive record, which is why people are going for the likes of Saiz, Nuri, and Cody, and even Killman. All these are popular options. It's just that rotation risk with Nuri. But in terms of the potential for Nuri to score, it is there. Okay, so Brendan Rodgers is not looking really good news for Brendan Rodgers. So Leicester, he didn't seem that confident, did he? I saw the press, I saw something from the press conference. Okay, so he says keeping an eye on him. He seems fine, but the body language of Rodgers seemed to suggest otherwise. I felt that he's not exactly confident. But the problem with Leicester, of course, is still that Jamie Vardy's out, Johnny Evans out. So Yun Chu may still be out as well after he got injured during the midweek Europa match. Yeah, so these are significant players, and we know that Leicester has been really leaky, which is why I can see a lot of people. I can see the rationale for people picking up Jimenez, who scored last game week, so maybe he'll go on a run.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jimenez one of the later we see the top transfer for this week. Okay, this is the top transfer in and out, man. We can see the top transfer in Salah with almost 700,000 managers as bring him in, no surprise. Second is Saka at 275k. Then Bowen still picking up the pace. A lot of managers still bring him in. And then Broja, okay. And then the fifth one is Jimenez, like you mentioned. So are you into this bandwagon? Salah, Saka?
Well, definitely Salah. I think he is my triple captain option, so definitely gonna bring him in. Yeah, I'm not surprised to see top transfers out. Jota, of course, because he's injured. So there you have it. KDB is one of the top transfers out. So even though I feel that he has a favorable matchup when I have KDB myself, but Fernandez and Ronaldo also turn up, and it's no surprise because Fernandez, De Bruyne, and Ronaldo are really expensive players. So I can see why there are people selling to reallocate to double game week players.
Yeah,
Selling just
I
one of
think
them.
supposedly funding Salah lah, I suppose.
Yeah, now that's true. Yeah, and dare I say it, money as well.
Yeah,
um, so yeah, top transfers. Jimenez makes it into the list as well. I'm surprised to see Broja there. Um, so, but Jimenez definitely, I feel he can go on the run.
yeah. I think Broja is also a good option as an enabler to fund if let's say you want to do like uh, getting the like of Salah or even Mane if you want to double up. I think there's a question on that. Shall we go to team pick?
Yep. Hang on, I haven't got my screen set up yet. Let me
Never
do
mind. I
this.
have your team here. I just show
Oh, okay.
show what's your
Uh,
plan in midweek. Are you still on this or not?
All right, so I'm pretty much ruling option one out. I feel that Weghorst, I'm not confident uh, of picking him this week because he does play only one match this week, and I'm worried that if he doesn't, if he may only come in as a sub because I'm not confident with Dyke's comments. So second looks to be the main. The second option is what I'm banking in on this stage, and I am seeing whether I need to do an additional transfer,
Okay.
which where I would sacrifice either Trossard or Livramento. So it depends if I want to go have on a fourth four defenders for the back. Yeah,
Okay, all right.
and
For the back,
yeah. So
I
if I
assume you're gonna think of bringing Tierney or Gabriela.
no, I'm looking at bringing a Wolves player actually.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, I feel between Wolves and Arsenal both have a shot at least one clean sheet. Yeah, and I don't
Okay,
think they'll keep two. I don't think either Wolves or Arsenal will keep two clean sheets. Um,
okay.
yeah, but in the midfield is a bit. Uh, I. I was entertaining myself at bringing in a dark horse pick in Dan James, yeah, against Manchester United. But the thing is, the second match is against Liverpool, which we know that it's a lot. The Liverpool defense is a lot more sturdy and stronger than Manchester United's. So I haven't decided that one. So
I, are you gonna take like -8 points hits or
yeah,
more?
right now -4 hit is pretty much a certainty. It's now the question as to whether or not I go take another transfer. I
Okay,
haven't decided that yet.
all right. Let's go to my team. I have already made my transfers last night,
Ah,
which is
whew.
I took -4, where I took out Bruno, Jota, who is injured, and also De Gea, and bring in Salah, the obvious one, Saka, and Ramsdale. So my argument is, in terms of Arsenal asset, whether you like it or not, Ramsdale is actually the players with the most points in Arsenal squad. If
Yeah,
I don't know whether that is surprise you or not, but
no,
he is on 101 points. So I guess whether you like it or not, maybe people are not willing to do a goalkeeper transfer. But I feel if I want to have Arsenal asset, he is the one. He is number one for me. So Ramsdale, the first player is who actually I brought in him in. And also Ramsdale has potential double game weeks in future. For
yeah,
future, like we mentioned, some outstanding matches will be scheduled, and we already see game week 29. Arsenal will have another double game week.
yeah.
Next,
On Ramsdale, I just want to say that I feel that yeah, definitely, when the fixtures are good, he scores well. Arsenal really have trouble against the bigger teams, yeah, where they can concede more than one goal, but even against the smaller teams, he won't concede a lot. So definitely, Ramsdale is a good shot. I mean, I already have him, so yeah,
yeah, that's why you already have him, so good for you. The next one is yesterday I contemplating between whether to uh, take out Bruno or Ronaldo to find Salah, but just thinking whether Saka or Lacazette or even Jimenez is the better pick. But I in the end I picked Saka. I saw some stats that Saka actually has 3 double digits so far. He can be explosive in the day. Unlike Lacazette and Jimenez might not be as explosive as Saka can be. And Saka is midfielder. He can score in terms of point, has potential one extra clean sheet points and also one extra points for goals. So in the end, I decided to bring in Saka over others, and I already put my triple captain on Salah me. So I will. I had already activated my triple captainship. Mute. You're on
oh,
mute.
sorry. Our team seem to be converging a bit. You brought in Saka, you brought in Ramsdale, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's fine. Yeah, so just a few key differences,
So
but we
I
both
have
still think
only
Ronaldo.
I have only 6 double game weeks players. Not sure about you. I think maybe you have the same players. Since after game week 28 and 29 announcement, now I'm thinking whether I could take another hit to bring in, say, Jimenez, like you mentioned. He has another double game week in 28. If I still proceed with my plan, which is free hitting at 27, uh, or if let's say I don't decide that, we already know Wolves have February fixture, this double game week. Next week also has a fixture. Then 28 double game week fixture. 29 they have fixture, and 30 who is thought as the blank game week. Wolves also will have a fixture. So I think it's a long run investment if I want to do that.
Yeah. So well, we'll have to
I'll think
decide.
about that. Yeah.
You've got a few hours.
Yeah. Another thing, maybe I don't know. Tapi like you mentioned, Horse might be doubtful, right? Horse straight away will have double game week next week, which if let's say you don't decide to free hit, then it's a good investment for this week and the other week. So
Yeah.
not too sure. Okay, that's our plan, man. So maybe we can pick up some question.
Oh, okay. Right. So let me see. Okay, so first one is from Rakan FPL, Wolves assets suggestion. So definitely, that's the problem with the midfield. There's no real consistent Wolves contributor to FPL points. So definitely, when it comes to attacking players, when I say attacking, I mean midfielders or strikers. Then definitely you're just left with Jimenez as the option. The good thing is though, Coutinho is fit. So Coutinho is the second highest scoring attacker for Wolves.
Wolves.
So so it's a bit of a dark horse pick. So, but if you fancy him, the good thing with Coutinho, he's only 4.9, which is
Wow.
really cheap. So that's something if you don't want to go with the green and with Jimenez, and or don't have the money, then Coutinho might be an option for you. Other than that, definitely the back players. If you fancy Sa keeping the clean sheet with two home games, then yeah, definitely Sa and Cody, who can score from headers.
Yep.
But of course, a lot of people are talking about size because size seems to be a better threat when it
And
comes to.
surprisingly, I thought he's higher than 5. He's actually at 5 now.
Yeah, he's at 5. Yeah. So if you don't have the money, then Alt Nori is still an option. But the thing with Alt Nori, of course, is that rotation risk, especially in this double game week. All right. So his follow-up question was double up Wolves defense. Wow. Okay. So the good thing is with Wolves, especially if you're planning to free in 27, is that Wolves have a double game week after that as well. So it might be a shrewd investment to have Wolves players now, because if you pick them up now, in game week 28 they play Crystal Palace and Watford, and so Crystal Palace, Watford, both teams haven't been free flowing in their scoring either. So definitely, I think it's viable. Yeah, it's a good shout. All right.
I want to
Okay.
pick up Ganesan question.
Yep.
Is it worth having Salah and Mane? By all means, if you have the money, bro, you bring them.
Right. So one thing with Liverpool, you have to, I guess one thing is because Jota is definitely out. The thing with Liverpool is that have a they don't have a double game week in 28. Their double game week is 29. So in game week 28, how Liverpool play West Ham. So it's not exactly the best matchup. West Ham are a decent side who were until recently only just got kicked out of the top 4, but they are a decent side. So if you feel that
And man, just remember, West Ham did won against Liverpool on the reverse fixture,
yeah,
so
that's true.
they can give a fight.
Yeah, but again, that's if you're onto that long term planning, because in game week 26, Norwich and Leeds is definitely tempting.
Yeah.
So I agree with Hafiz. If you're looking at this game week, definitely go all in.
Yep, go all in. Yep.
Okay, another question by Rakan FPR. Sa or Ramsdale? Ramsdale for me, Hafiz.
It's a tough one. I just say, if let's say you do not have you already use your free hit or maybe left with one free hit, you do not have used your wildcard, I don't know, then Jose Sa can be a good pick since you're not fitting next week. He plays. Then
Yes.
28 he has double game week, and 30 he will play. But Ramsey also play. So it can be a differential pick. He's a
That's
decent
right.
one. His same price, if not high, 5.2, I think 5.2 price. So not that far off by Ramsdale. So some managers want to be different, and Jose Sa, I tell you, he can be really a good differential.
I agree. Yeah, definitely your option. Another question. Keep Martinelli for us DGW
Uh,
or swap with Saka? And for me, if you already have a strong 11 to put up, then you can keep him and bench him. If you don't have a good starting 11, then definitely swap out.
yep, I agree with Azmin.
Okay. Last question. Ramsey or Coutinho or both? You first, Hafiz.
I'm not sure how your team is, but I think Coutinho is my number one lah. Maybe because he's actually priced at 7 million plus and Ramsey at 4.7. I don't know, 4.8 now. But Ramsey is a good enabler if you want to upgrade somebody like somebody like Salah or KDB and so on. But KDB doesn't
Okay.
have any double game week moving forwards. But
Yeah.
Coutinho is. So I don't know. Watkins is not really secured now, right? He actually been substituted last game where Ings coming in the 70th minute or something like that. So
Yeah.
maybe,
So
I don't know, if you're on wildcard, maybe. Yeah,
yeah.
both.
So Aston Villa were one of the sides that previously didn't have. We weren't considering much because they didn't have a double game week, but now they have a double game week in week 28. So my worry with Coutinho for a double game week is that I'm worried that he may not be fit enough to start both games. Definitely he's working on his fitness. He's been doing quite well. However, I am a bit worried there with Coutinho that will prevent me from picking him. Yeah, because definitely they'll be looking to manage his minutes to make sure he'll play all three games. It's just that he may not. He may have his minutes managed.
Fair. So maybe if I'm on wildcard, I might bring both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, okay.
Hope that answers rakyat FPL. Harap-harap menjawab lah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's it.
Okay.
Dan James, good punt. Okay, so I mentioned this earlier. I
Betul lah.
think
Kau
it's
cakap
quite a
tadi.
good
Ya.
punt. The good thing with Dan James is that he's cheap, so you don't have to find the funds to buy him, and it's cute that he's now the second top scoring midfielder after Rafinha, and we know that Rafinha hasn't been having a good
Yep.
time since he came back from Brazil for the internationals. So so James is 6.0, Rafinha 6.5. And one thing with Leeds is that they also have a double game week after game week 27. It's in
Yep.
game week 28, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So and Leeds will play Leicester and Aston Villa, which both are leaky sides. So definitely, it's a good shout as well. I think I think for this week if you look, you need to look at long term if you want to keep him long term. Then because I can see him score. He might score against Manchester United, not so much against Liverpool.
Okay, last question from Rakyat FPL. Size or Cody?
Flip a coin.
Same price.
Sorry.
Both
Yeah,
of them
I
same
feel.
price.
Huh?
Both of them are same price? I'm not sure.
Size is 5.0. Cody is slightly cheaper at 4.7.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I think
I think both both are capable of keeping a clean sheet, and both are set threats from set pieces as well. So it's a tough one. I can't. I think either
Yep.
one should.
Either one should be okay. I feel. Okay.
Okay.
I think that's all.
All right.
Maybe last one, Van Dijk or Robertson. I favor Robertson.
I favor Van Dijk. Okay, so I'll tell
Okay.
you why. The main reason is that I'm worried that Simikas might play one of the matches.
Okay.
I feel it's
Fair.
quite safe.
That's
Yeah.
that's a good argument. That's a good
So if
argument.
whereas Van Dijk, I think he'll be secure on starting both. Yeah, Robertson, he's had his injury issues this season. So if they want to like take care of him a bit more, I feel that Klopp may likely bench him for one, most likely the second one.
Yes, good argument. I agree with Azmin, but if I have the money, definitely I'll buy Robertson.
Okay.
Okay, thank you guys who joined this stream. Hope you are prepared for. We have prepared you for this game week. By all means, whatever decision you make, okay, please make it before 7 p.m., which is the deadline. And from last word from me, good luck for this game week. And most importantly, uh, don't stress out lah. Don't panic, especially with this announcement of double game week 28 and 29. I think for now, just follow, especially your instinct. I can that only I can tell.
Yeah. So there was some weather issues in UK on Friday, and then there was a worry that it might impact on today's matches. But they say that there's no, which is Storm Eunice, but Storm Eunice hit yesterday. So the risk was that it may knock out power cables and roads, and which will cause
Aiyo.
any delays for today. But the latest news I have, there hasn't been any impact. So and today the forecast is that there shouldn't be any weather issues today. So I think it should be fine. Just in case anyone was wondering.
Itulah. Please lah. Don't the storm stop or postpone matches, especially Arsenal and Liverpool.
Yeah. If any luck, it'll be Burnley that get postponed again.
Aiyo. Okay, guys. Thank you and see you again. Bye bye.
Bye. May the force be with you and all the best for game week 26.